Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Timberborn, Neo Olympus. We are currently still trying to make it through all of that recorded footage with no voiceover and everything, no commentary that I'm recorded, and it's been a trial. So this is video 3 of that. But if you're new here, thanks for joining in. I would suggest you go back and see how we got to this point. But this is what our colony looks like at the end of this series of videos. I did a lot of work. It was about 12 hours or so, maybe 13 hours of gameplay recording that I'm trying to go back and talk about what I did. It's been a rough go at it, but you know what? Let's jump into this one and get started, and you can follow along with some of the changes as they're coming. So we built this storage and now we're just waiting for it to unflood so it can be usable. But as you can see, they started using the top layer since it was not flooded. Moving back to our industrial district, we need storage, and I am planning on putting storage out over this nice little aquifer here, and we just need to figure out how we're going to get it in and how it's going to sit. And basically, I want to use this as the major storage for the entire district right here. So all of our lumber products, all of our dirt, everything is going to get stored here. So all it requires is a little TLC on how to prepare it and set it up, and then to continue building out and creating more.
A few minutes later.
So now we got more platforms in, and they've started working on that. We can look at how many levels we want this storage to be and what's actually going to be stored in it. Since I'm going to make towers on both sides, I figured might as well just make the opposing towers for that entire side the same thing. So logs across from logs, planks across from planks, etc. So as we move back over here, I got the idea from Reddit, and someone said if you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong, basically. And I kind of agree with them. Making a tower for the bots factory actually takes up a lot less of a footprint, and it can be more fun. And I was working on how I wanted to do this, and then I realized something was off as I was trying to set this all up, and I was like, this isn't going to fit the way I want it to. So basically I decided to go back to the drawing board. As you can see, we got our new water tanks in, and of course I didn't have a path connected, our fluid tanks in, and of course I didn't have a path connected, and so they couldn't be used. I know update 7 is on the horizon, and I've been trying to figure out what I want to do because I want to play it, but I don't want to switch everything over to the experimental branch just in case. Because I'm not going to finish this settlement by the time 7 comes out. So I'm just going to keep working on this. Yeah, and then I decided and realized, I'm not going to have enough power. So I probably should start working on making more power. Because I can just add another section onto this, and then it'll be fine. it'll work.
Oh, sure about that, are you?
And then I was having issues trying to get it across in my head how I wanted it to be. And then I was just like, you know what? I don't think this is going to work how I want it to, but let's get started on this.
Much later.
So over here, I have a lot of roof space that's not being used, so I just need a way to get up access to it to get ready for the next phase of the things that I plan on doing here. And I'm seeing that a lot of my storage is starting to get used on the second layer. So I'm going to add in something that I wanted to do because this was part of the vision, and that is a little bit of extra entertainment for my beavers' happiness. And I will say that platforms are amazing because I think that was my favorite part of this last update for update 6 was the platforms, because man, you can just do so much and create so many things with them. And somehow, luckily, that was a perfect fit. You would think I measured it. Adding more storage in over here, and what that last one you were looking at is I was measuring flow rates. I was trying to see how my power was working and everything, and I was really just trying to fine-tune my power. And I realized something, but we're going to come back to that later because that whole power thing is a whole debacle in itself. So back to the storage, which I got to remember to use tab more often. And of course I diverted from my plan because I was like, oh, I'll just put logs across from logs and et cetera, et cetera. Nope. I diverted from that plan very quickly because, you know, reasons. And yeah, that's just how it happens. So as we get ready to put in the third level, and of course now I gotta go in and add what's going to be in those ones because I decided to put in the third level after I'd already figured that out. And then I was realizing, like, my gear production was drowning out my plank production because my planks were being used for treated planks and gears, and I was full up on gears. And then also I had to remove some buildings because I didn't need them because I had buildings to replace them. As you can see, the industrial district is starting to take shape as I'm revamping the situation of how I have everything installed. So back over here to our storage. I'm really working on this and trying to figure this out, and I was like, oh, I'll just put in 3 platforms. But I don't want that because I want a path behind those to do what I need to do. So there's a lot of waiting going on. trying to figure out what my priorities are going to be. There's a lot of waiting going on and a lot of things going on that I'm just doing side quests instead of focusing on getting one thing done at a time. Oh yeah. And in the meantime, they built those bad water discharges over there that I had set out for a long time. And my original goal with this whole area was to turn it into one giant power plant. But we'll see if that actually happens. So if you're wondering why everything looks a little bit jerky in the video, it's because it's sped up to 250% of the actual speed. I did that in order to be able to get all of this video in the way I wanted it to. Yep, and we're back over here messing around with this power plant trying to get stuff installed because reasons. So I finally figured out why when I was looking at it, it didn't fit properly, and I was like, I knew it was supposed to fit there. I had it one too far forward. I forgot that the bot tower should actually be in line with the power for the actual power line. And of course, yeah, I made a mistake and did that. And then, of course, I'm going to get this built and didn't notice it's facing the wrong direction. So I had to rebuild it because, you know, it happens. But at least it builds quickly because all the resources are right there. So coming back to check on this, I'm looking at the platforms and where they need to be to get up to the top of what's going to be here. And then I can put in another set of platforms. Back over here, we have our bot factory in, and we can set it up. We got power, so now we got power going back to all of our stuff over there. We can build our tower. And the reason why I needed to be one back was so I could easily get into the tower and up it from the other side. I needed that extra gap to be able to place my way up. And with that set up, this will give me a way up for the entire thing. And also, I was debating if I need to get back up to the top of that power plant, can I get back up from that side? And the answer is actually yes, because you know I have that other stairwell on the other side. Back over here, we're putting in more grass or more dirt to actually be able to have more area to plant more trees because, yeah, we need lots of lumber. And this industrial district, I want it to remain self-sufficient, so more trees. And so here I started laying out the groundwork to create the power plant, but that's as far as I'm going to go with this because it's not a main priority. Stop starting side quests. Just stop starting side quests. That's what I keep telling myself. So coming back over here, I need to measure some heights because I want to put large warehouses on top of this, but I want to make sure it's at the right height, which it is not, to actually get to the top. So I decided I would put actual regular industrial warehouses over here so I would be able to store certain industrial goods that I might actually need for building in this area so they don't have to always wait on being imported. I'll still have trees coming in, but if I don't have any of my lumber mills or anything connected, then that's going to be an issue. Speaking of trees, planting more trees. And if you're wondering why I just don't plant all oaks, I probably will change it all to oaks at some point, but I like having the overlap for the pine because the pine doesn't take as long, so I'm almost always getting wood influx every 7 days or 10 days or 14 days. I don't remember at this point.
8 hours later.
So I'm checking my resources and I noticed that we're low on dynamite. And bad tide has ended. We're on cycle 51 now, which is pretty good for me because this is my first time playing on hard and getting there. So this might be the last time I talk about this. I decided that I can fill in a lot of this with dirt because it'd be easier than just bringing the platforms up and everything, and I have dirt and everything. But I also started to realize something about the design that I was working with, and I wanted to completely change the design. And I start having this paralysis thing happen where I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. And that's why I don't even want to talk about this power plant anymore. This may seem silly, but because I know once I'm done with this whole recap, it's going to be the focus of the next video. And so therefore, this will probably be the last thing you see about anything about this power plant, because I realized that the design was bad, or the design was inefficient. Not that it was bad, it was just inefficient. I can get a lot more out of that, and it needs a whole redesign, so that's going to take time. So at this point, I decided that I want to take those food factories and move them but I was trying to figure out exactly where, and I wanted to have it so there's like a single entry that looks where there's things on both sides of it. Then I started looking at my food, like, hey, maybe I need to check my food levels and check some of my crops. And oh, hey, they're almost done with this. Maybe at this point I'll figure out that I'm missing a pathway so they won't build that stuff up there or get up there. Nah, it's gonna be a little bit yet till I'm gonna notice, oops, I'm missing a path. Yeah, and I was missing stairs down to the bottom because it was still flooded. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't contaminated water, but I didn't want to take any chances. So the fun of deciding what all's going into these. A lot of ingredients for food. Nope, still haven't figured out that path is missing. It's okay though. So with all the other stuff in, we can start moving on to the next section of dirt we're putting down. Back over in downtown, they finished up everything except the plates, which I need to finish to make sure that even in back-to-back droughts, this stays full of water, because I want it to stay full of water, so I'll pump water in. This is more just a measure to make sure that during a long drought, or back-to-back long droughts with a minimal time, that I don't have to worry about trying to have it refilled naturally. And yet another side quest as we get ready to try and level this all down to the same level. So I'm going to clear the planting area so they don't replant the trees. So once they grow up and they take them down, I can level that terrain and take it back down. Oh, and hey, I finally realized that, oh, these aren't getting built because they can't use them because, why? Oh, I have a path connected now, which I just did.
One weekend of pampering later.
And back to one of our main priorities. Yeah, I forgot to put the stairwells in to actually give this pathing to finish building my bot tower, because, you know, side quest, side missions, ADHD, not focusing. Now they'll be able to finish building all of them, and actually I will have more bots coming out to make sure this is extremely self-sufficient. All right, back in downtown, finally putting on our food storage. And these ones are actually for food goods. Because they're so large, I want to make sure I have a good sized stockpile of food. So, of course, we need to get those in. Of course, this is all going to result in I'm going to have to rearrange some of these storage again later, but you know, that is future me's problem. At this point, I can also put in my last row of housing since I've worked everything out and get more housing set up. Not that I don't have enough for my population right now, but I still want my population to grow and get bigger. And now I can start working on a mirror to my other side. And I hate it when I still miss it with the guidelines and it's not on. But just a little bit of modifying can get that done as quickly as possible. I don't know if I said this earlier, but I know I've been trying to hold off on it and saying what it is, but I think the surprise is fine. I think it's fine. I can tell you. So these are going to be water areas, play areas for the beavers, full of swimming pools and showers. And I understand that I could have been building them in that area, the other side already. But this is one of those things where I know the water is clean in my head, but because there's a bad tide, all even clean water sources are tinted like they're not. And it just, to me, it was better to play safe than sorry. It's one of those things, even when you know something, it just doesn't feel like. But also something I'm starting to realize is I have no way of getting power over here. So I'm eventually going to have to run power from my power plant over to this basin. And the best way to do it is going to be to go through my sewage line. But I have to do it in a way to not cause another incident. So I'm looking at this from a perspective of how can I get the power there without completely contaminating this other basin. And that's going to take some work. So after looking at this, the easiest way is going to be to build this out just a little bit so I can start working on where my output power pipe is going to go. I guess that's the best way to put it. The output power pipe that's going to lead into the section here for power. Starting with that, getting that all sealed off. And I think that's the coolest thing. All you have to do is put impermeable floors on top of it and it'll still transfer power through the impermeable floors. And that way I will be able to route power above my sewer line to get back in. And I changed that to levees instead of those platforms because I'm going to need to open up that other one, and I didn't want to take a chance of any bad water possibly leaking backwards, backflowing into that basin. Over here, we're going to do something nice. We're going to prep this area to fill it in just because we can, and get ready to install another excavator to get more dirt. Swinging back over to the side, they've cut down all these trees, so I am going to remove some things and lay a ton of dynamite so I can make sure to get ready to have this where I need it to. And then I still have a way to get up to get the rest of the trees, but all of this is going to come crashing down at some point, and it's going to make everything level and even. I really want to thank everyone who has stuck with this series, and if you're new, I suggest you go back and look at some of my other videos for this specific colony and maybe some of my other colonies before. So whether you're new here or you've been following this colony, I just want to say thanks for sharing your time with me. I enjoy doing this. I got a little burnt out with this one because I just recorded for like 12 hours over a couple days, and the editing has been a nightmare. And I was hoping that this would be the last video, but unfortunately it is not. But there's only one more left. So I really hope you'll stick with this through this video, or since you've already stuck through this video, you'll stick with it through the next one as well. And then I will get back to recording regularly. Peace.
Bye! Bye!